Now is the time for us to dive into a practical case, and I'm really excited for this. Our first guest for today is actually Alex Young. As I told you earlier, she's the director of a co-working brand called Projects. You can connect with Alex by scanning this QR code. But Project is actually located in Brighton. So if you do not know where Brighton is, it is a town located by the seaside in the UK. You can also scan the QR code right here on your screen to discover projects in greater length. But I also want to explain why did we choose Alex and why did we choose Projects as a space and as a speaker for this event. First of all, Alex has been working in the co-working industry in the UK for over 7 years. To say that she has massive and extensive experience is obviously an understatement. But also, and most importantly, she beautifully leads Projects, a brand, as I said, from Brighton, that offers a wide range of products and services to its community. So they do sell a lot of things, which means there's plenty for us to learn. And yeah, I'm really excited to have her. Hi, Alex, are you around?
Hi, Pauline. Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm very happy to be here.
Me too. I'm really excited to have you. I feel like we haven't seen each other for ages, so I'm glad to have you on screen. We also added a few images of projects for people to get a feeling of your space, because we can't do that event just yet in your venue. In order for our guests to know who you are, may we start by having a quick intro about you? So who are you? What do you do? Where are you tuning in from?
Absolutely. So as you said, my name is Alex and I'm the director of Projects. I oversee our 2 sites in Brighton, and I'm also leading on our expansion into new cities around the UK. I'm joining from one of our spaces in Brighton. I'm actually in our globe room, which has a very impressive circular ceiling. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, you sent me a picture of it. Wow.
That's the room that I'm in, the picture that there. So yeah, it's
beautiful.
one of my favorite spaces.
When we were preparing this event, I was watching the list of attendees and I realized that a lot of them are not from the UK. So I'm going to ask you a question just to set up the stage here about Brighton. Could you talk to us a little bit about the city? How is Brighton in the UK? Is it considered big, small town? What's the co-working scene like there? Anything you can help us understand Brighton a bit better?
Sure. So if you haven't been to Brighton, then please come and visit us. I'd love to meet you. Brighton is a very vibrant coastal city in East Sussex, England. It's very well known for its pebbly beaches. So if you like a sandy beach, we're going to disappoint you, I'm afraid. We have a very iconic pier, and we've got a very lively cultural scene. And it's often referred to as the gay capital of the UK. It's not considered one of the largest cities in the UK in terms of its population size. However, have a significant impact on the UK due to our artistic and touristic appeal as well. And we also have more pubs per person than any other city.
Wow. That is quite a number.
Yeah. Just to touch on your question about the co-working market, Brighton has a really thriving startup and creative scene, 2 really amazing universities, and we're only an hour away from London on the train. So we do have quite an attractive market here for co-working. So yeah, it's a great place to be.
Nice. And let's dive right into Projects. So can you share with us what product and services you guys are actually selling?
Of course. So Projects is a B Corp certified workspace provider. If anyone doesn't know much about the B Corp movement, the best way of explaining it really briefly, because it is quite a detailed thing, is to say that if you certify as a B Corp, you commit to ensuring that you don't just measure profit as your success, but you also take into consideration people around you, the people that work for you, your local community, and the planet. So we're a B Corp certified workspace, and we really try to foster a community-driven environment where businesses can thrive and individuals can collaborate and grow. At projects, we really try and create a conducive workspace that goes far beyond a traditional office setup. And inclusivity is a key part in that for us. We really try and pride ourselves on being the home for better business. We're so much more than just a workspace. We try and create opportunities where people come together and flourish. And it's our responsibility to give them the right kind of spaces and resources and support networks for them to do that.
I'm sorry, I have some issue. Are you still with me, Alex?
I'm still here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah, I hear you. Sorry, I have some issues with my laptop. I don't know what's happening. Sorry about that. So when we talk about the product and services that you guys are selling, what would you say is Project's best seller and why?
I would say our best seller is our 40-hour-a-month membership. So that's not a huge number of hours. It just goes to show that in Brighton, a lot of people like to work very flexibly, and they might work from different types of spaces. They might be commuting to other cities, but they like to come and see us maybe once a week or for a couple of hours, a couple of times a week. We also have quite a large number of private offices, and those are all full at the moment. So I'd have to say those are one of our best sellers as well. And I know we've got our amazing area community manager that you know, Pauline.
Yes.
Matt, he's on the line as well. And he has played such an amazing part in ensuring that our offices are full. So I have to shout him out for that. So yeah, those combined will be our best sellers at projects.
And can you walk us through some of the sales activities you are doing to get people to know about projects?
Absolutely. Yeah. So Brighton's quite an interesting city, and I've worked in other cities around the UK and spoken to people, globally. And I think that we're in quite a funny spot where so much of Brighton relies on word of mouth and trust. And it's a really beautiful thing, but it's quite unique to us. So we've tried Google Ads, and we do work with brokers. We see huge value in us doing that. But such a huge part in our sales activations and processes rely on us establishing quite a lot of trust within our local community. So we do that through hosting events and making sure that people know that they can come and interact with us and get to know the space in different ways. We establish partnerships with people that are local, but also global. One of the key partnerships that we're working on at the moment is with the Better Business Network, who are a UK-based network of businesses that are really pushing forward with net zero initiatives or championing living wage and really great initiatives like that to try and ensure that businesses are benefiting all of their stakeholders. So yeah, events, partnerships, really authentic social media engagement as well. So we try and use our social media platforms to really demonstrate our values and get across community stories and just be really transparent about the journey that we're on, our challenges and successes, because that helps us build trust and credibility. For us, obviously, I mentioned that so much of Brighton's sales comes from people knowing each other. So I think it's really important for us to play a part in the local entrepreneurial kind of industries and show us what makes things so special about Brighton. And we do that by, sharing things on social media, but also going along to local events and just showing up to get to know people. And yeah, we always try to be really transparent with the communication we put out there about our spaces, our suppliers, our amenities, and our members' experiences, because we know that by being transparent, we can help potential members make the best and most informed decisions and just build that authenticity and trust with them.
That's really interesting that you talk about members referral. That's also when I was introducing the event earlier and I ran this survey on LinkedIn. It was interesting for me that it came out as also the first kind of like most effective way co-working spaces are using to attract people. So if we look at what works well and what doesn't when it comes to selling the space, from your experience, and obviously you just talked about member referral, but when we look at tools and ways to sell, what would you say has done really well from everything you've tried, and what would you say didn't really meet the expectations you had?
So we have learned a lot from mistakes, and I always think that you remember the the things that you learn from a mistake so much more than the things that you
Very
learn
true.
from things going well. But I'll start with what went well, and then I'll move on to what hasn't worked for us.
Okay.
So for us, it's really important that we provide clear and transparent pricing. Like, people need to know that we're treating everybody fairly. So we're really upfront about our costs, and that's been really instrumental for us to build trust with our potential members. We want to make sure there are no hidden costs, no varying prices, so that everyone can feel really confident that they're getting a fair deal. We list all of our pricing on our website. And we're super clear, if there is a way to get a discount, then it's really fair and explained so people know. We do include discounts for charities, students, blue badge holders, so those with disabilities, and other B Corps, because we feel like that really reflects our commitment to inclusivity and community support. And we really celebrate those. Those discounts don't just attract a diverse range of members, but they also help us really live true to our mission and be clear on our values. So that's important for our team as well, to know that we're not just saying, these are our values, but we're really demonstrating that that's the case. And then referrals, obviously, being in a city where word of mouth is so important. We've had a really successful referral scheme. So we incentivize our members to bring friends, colleagues, or associates into our spaces. And through that, we've been able to expand our community and strengthen the relationships with our members as well, because they feel like we're really celebrating them and thanking them when they help us grow. What hasn't worked for us is, I have to be really honest, is long-term contracts for our co-workers. We've tried to put things out there like sign up for a year and you get 1 month free, and people don't like that. People want the flexibility of knowing that if things, if they need to go elsewhere for a period of time, or maybe their business is struggling, or something's going on in their personal life and they're just not going to be able to come in, they're not tied into a long contract. So we experimented with those kind of offers, but really hardly anyone, I would say, I don't even know if one person took that up, and we advertised it for like a solid 6 months. So that just didn't work for us. Interestingly, though, there are other spaces, even within the same city as us, that have had a lot of success with that kind of thing. And I think for their members, I know they've been around for like 5 years or maybe longer using the same space. So they're happy to sign up for something that's of that length. And a lot of those businesses are more traditional and maybe don't experience much fluctuation. They're not a lot of freelancers. I don't think that long-term contracts for anyone, they just don't work for us.
Yeah, that's actually what I was referring to earlier in the introduction of the event, that you have to understand what your target audience wants. And as you said, it might not be that it doesn't work for everybody, but for you guys, it's not made for the type of people you attract within the project's community.
Exactly.
You started to talk about the member referral program you put in place, and I would love for us to talk a little bit more about that. So how have you leveraged on your community to boost your sales efforts? So can you maybe give us an example about the referral program and how it works?
So with the referral program, the way it works is that if a member gets another person to sign up, they have to tell us that when they're here on a tour, the potential member needs to say, so-and-so referred me. So that's the first thing. If the potential member signs up, then we reward both the existing member and the new member. So they can either choose to have £50 off their next month's membership, or they can get a voucher. And we've picked a couple of key local businesses that we can support by buying a £50 voucher, and then we can award those to both the new member and the existing member. So it's a nice way of building local partnerships as well. And people do love a free brunch, so myself included.
Yes. Yeah, and me. That's such a nice initiative, actually. That's thanks for sharing. That's really nice. A really nice idea. Also, again, as I was saying earlier, to tap into the local community and support local businesses through your space is really key. And the way you do it is really beautiful. What are some of the challenges then that you guys have faced when trying to make sales at projects, and how did you overcome those challenges?
So, as I've said, and I mentioned it in a promotion for this event, a LinkedIn post saying we're full, we have a wait list. It hasn't always been like that. It would be really authentic to make it seem like that was the case. we did have a period of time in the summer last year, so not that long ago, where we had quite a few medium-sized offices available, and we toured so much and we promoted the availability within our space quite a lot. But we had a couple of 12, 14 person offices that we just couldn't sell. And as anyone will know that works in this industry, margins are tight, and if you have a couple of empty offices for a couple of months, like, things don't look great for the business. It's not a highly profitable industry. I've spoken at co-working conferences and people talk about the elephant in the room and co-working isn't profitable. I don't think that that's the case, but I do think that your margins have to be closely watched, and empty offices for an extended period of time is a concern. So I think for us, it wasn't that we'd done anything wrong. Sometimes that happens. People leave, contracts end, people upgrade in the space. And again, shout out to Matt, who's worked so hard to ensure that our team have been able to empower our companies to grow and take on the right space, or downsize if they're not in as much as they need to be and aren't spending their funds as resourcefully. So we helped them be in the right space, but we had a couple of medium-sized offices that we just couldn't shift in the summer. And what I learned from that is, don't panic. Like, I know it's easier said than done. And if I'd have heard myself say this back in the summer, I don't even know if that would have helped. But you've just got to trust that if you're doing the right thing, it might take a little while, but good people will come and you will fill the space. What I would say also is that trying to sell offices right in the middle of the summer or right before Christmas is really hard. So just build that into contingency plans, so that if you've got people break clauses or contracts ending around that time, just give yourself a buffer, because now spaces are full and we've got a wait list. Loads of people want 12-person offices, but they didn't 6 months ago. So it's just about trusting the process, but being aware that there might be times when it's harder to shift offices than other times.
That's so true. I think when you mentioned the summer at the beginning as a challenge, I was like, yeah, seasonality also is very important. And you're absolutely right, knowing when. And that's why I was saying some of the mistakes we often see from co-working operators is them not being aware when members' contracts are ending. And that's also how you end up in situations like, okay, it's the summer and suddenly everybody's leaving. How do we ramp up the office? So you're absolutely right. Seasonality and knowing when things are ending is key. If we talk about technology, I know that you guys are using quite a few tools also for managing the sales funnel and like your processes. So what would you say, how is it facilitating the overall sales process for you guys? How has it played? What role has it played?
I think any tool is only as good as the people using it. So you've got to make sure you invest in team training. We use HubSpot for our CRM software, and that helps us really streamline the sales processes, manage customer interactions, and track our deals. It took quite a lot of time to set it up. I'm going to be totally honest. Like, we hoped that we'd get it set up in 6 weeks. It definitely took 6 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, we have things like automated emails. If people cancel, we try and get them to rebook. And initially the team was saying, I want to write those emails to each person and I want to say, like, I hope everything's okay. And it was a balance to make sure that we were still getting across that personal touch and care and consideration and the nuances of dealing with each person, but also ensuring that the process is scalable. Because obviously if you've got 20 tours a day opening in multiple cities, you can't respond that same way to every single person. So it was really about ensuring that the messages that we're putting in for automated emails had the right kind of tone and enabled our team to feel like they were confident that everyone we were speaking to would get that caring feeling from us, but also that our funnel wasn't leaky and we were making sure that no one was missed out. So the benefit of having an automated system can outweigh the personalization, because you make sure that you're not missing anyone. My advice to anyone considering implementing a CRM system is just to prioritize the end goal and invest that time and invest in team training, because sometimes it can feel like, do you know what, maybe it was just easier to go back to having a Google sheet and writing all the emails ourselves. But think about where you're trying to get to. If you're happy with one site and you've got a limited amount of space, that's fine. You probably don't need a CRM, but you've got to think about the scalability of what you're trying to achieve. Also, just talking about systems, social media is, such an important part of growing a presence and building a brand. And it does play a really important part of our sales process because it enables us to really showcase our community and our brand. So yeah, we've tried and make sure that we're providing really valuable content and building relationships with our audience, just investing in our community. And yeah, I would say don't underestimate the power that can play in your sales.
And by the way, I added a slide about a very special project that you have running in the space, which I would invite everybody to discover as you talk about promoting your community and promoting what happens at projects and, things that you love to do. Alex, you actually run a podcast. People can actually scan the QR code to access it, which is called Favorite Positions. I would highly recommend you to listen to it. And it's also something you do with one of your teammates, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is Anna, our brand manager. She is so much better versed in audio and marketing than I am. I'm so happy to have her involved in the podcast now. But yeah, Favorite Positions is not as raunchy as it sounds. And my mum highly advised me to really consider whether I did want to call it Favorite Positions, but I did because you'll remember it, hopefully. The podcast is all about helping people find what they love to do. And definitely listen to the episode with Pauline because it's fascinating.
Yeah, we did have an episode together, but in general, I think it's also an interesting project that came out of the space and in which you involve your team and the community a lot. So that's also for me a great example to highlight. I have actually 3 more questions for you and then I can let you go. The first one is out of the 3 left. If we talk about sales KPIs, so again, I just want to remember KPIs, key performance indicators for our viewers who are not so familiar with those terms. What would you say are some of the KPIs you guys use to measure the success of your sales activities?
So I was listening in before I joined, and some of the things you touched upon are already part of our KPIs. So I feel like I've got a little gold star here for me and the team. So membership sales, we try and measure the growth of our sales for our memberships across a time period. We look at our KPIs quarterly, and the whole company is involved. We decide on whether we feel they're fair. I'll come up with what I think is achievable. But if the team say, do you know what, I just don't think that's right, or we could do more, then I listen to their feedback. Then we set them, and then we review them monthly, but we change them every quarter. So we look at membership sales, our meeting and event-based revenue, because that's a big driving force in how we can upsell. We look at office sales, obviously. Member connections is really important to us. So how many members have we connected and what's happened as a result of that? Events attendance, and then also we have customer satisfaction and NPS. So we survey the members every quarter and find out how likely they are to recommend our space to family and friends. It's the NPS question, and we're always looking to try and improve that number. And we get their feedback on what we can do better, and then we really do listen to them.
It's actually a great bridge to my next question because I wanted to talk about improvements. So how would you say your sales strategy has improved over time?
So I would say there are 3 main things we've done in the last year that have really helped us with sales. One is building an outbound sales approach. So we have refined our targeting and our messaging and our outreach techniques and identified key people that we want to reach out to that we feel could really benefit from hearing about us. So I think so much of sales and co-working relies on people coming to you, but you sometimes need to go out to them, and that's actually really beneficial. Even if they don't sign up, they'll know about you and they can talk about you. So yeah, just making sure that you're not just waiting for people to come to you. The second is really perfecting our products. So we're just committed to delivering exceptional co-working experiences. Matt and I both love a term that we heard from you, Pauline, which is 6-star experience. We always want to deliver a 6-star experience. So for that, we have to listen to our feedback from our members. And, just to give you a really recent change, one of our products is an 80-hour-a-month membership. And previously, members could only access it between the hours of 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And we listened to them and we saw that some of them have calls at 6 o'clock or want to get in at 8 to set up. So we've extended the hours for no extra cost from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And we released that just yesterday, and the feedback's been amazing. And people are writing to us. Matt forwarded me on an email today with somebody saying, thank you. We really feel like you listened to what we're saying. So, nice. If it's not going to cost you, an arm and a leg, but it's going to help grow your community and show that you value them, then perfect your products. And then finally, in the last year, we rebranded. We really felt like there was a disconnect between how we were presenting ourselves visually versus how it felt to be in our space. So we really tried to weave them more and make sure that you could feel how it would be in a project space through our branding, our social media, our website. And I think that's really helped.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And I think what you touched based on like the outbound sales, so meaning going to your customers and looking for them, is indeed something co-working spaces don't do enough, or at least a lot of the ones we know. Waiting for people to come to you is one thing, but when you're proactive and go there, you also get a lot of the benefits of the work of going out there and letting people know that your space and exists. Last question to you. So to wrap things up, what would be your number one piece of advice to co-working spaces wishing to improve on their sales strategy? What should they begin with?
Well, I've written down what I think is my number one piece of advice, but now I've been thinking about it. I have two, and I hope
Okay, go for two.
So my original one I said is that you need to really be clear on what your purpose is and what your value proposition is. Once you know who you are and why you exist, then you know how you can help people. And that's key. But I would also say, and this is the thing I've really just thought about, make your sales training for your team important for every single member of your team to play a part in, because you know what it's like. There'll be a moment when somebody that has never taken a tour before is on the front desk and they need to take an important tour. So everybody should feel empowered to take a tour. Make it fun. My team are really competitive, so they just love having to do a quiz at the end, or like see who can rack up the most points and they win something. They love it. But make it fun, make it engaging, make sure they all play a part. Like, we practice tours on each other, and we've done sales one, version 1 of sales training, version 2, and we're planning version 3. Like, make sure it's ever evolving and keep it exciting. Sales shouldn't be reserved for a sales team, in my opinion.
I could not agree more. As I said earlier, I really believe that doing a tour is an art. And as a person who gets toured around the co-working space, you will always remember the people who made you feel amazing during a tour. So you're right. It's very important for everyone in the team to know what to say, how to do it. And practicing on each other is a great exercise. Sometimes when we work with teams, we also do like exercises where you have to be a certain type of person, a mean one, a very excited one, just to put people in different scenarios and be comfortable in whichever situation you land in, to do a tour and sell your space with the best of your abilities.
Yeah, you should join us. Come do some competitive sales training.
Okay, I really have to plan a trip to Brighton then sooner than later. Alex, thank you so much for being with us today. I really love what you, Matt, and the team are building. I'm really honored that you accepted the invitation for this event. Thanks a lot for sharing everything so openly. People interested to connect with you can scan the QR code. This will go to your LinkedIn. If you happen to be in Brighton, please go visit projects, take a picture, send it to us. We would love to see that as well. But thank you so much, Alex, for your time today. It was great to catch up.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you again.
Have a nice day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.